They thought they could humiliate me, treat me like I didn't matter, and walk away smiling. But little did they know, every insult, every betrayal was fueling my comeback. And when the tables finally turned, the silence in the room said it all. Betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from family. The world outside can be cruel, strangers can wound us with their actions or words, but there is always a certain distance, a barrier that keeps those wounds from reaching the soul. We expect that from others. We can prepare ourselves against their malice or their indifference. But when the knife comes from those we love, when the betrayal is born inside our own home, it is no ordinary wound. It pierces deeper because it comes wrapped in trust, because it is handed to us by the very people we thought would protect us. It is not just about what is done to us, it is about the shattering of the foundation we believed would always stand unshaken. A parent's love, a sibling's loyalty, a family's embrace, these are not things we question. They're supposed to be constants, the solid ground on which we build our lives. And when that ground trembles, when we discover favoritism, neglect, or outright betrayal, it does not just hurt, it redefines everything. Suddenly the home, once a sanctuary, becomes a place of uncertainty. Suddenly, laughter shared at the table feels hollow. Every memory is tainted by the realization that one person was chosen over another, one sibling was loved louder, celebrated brighter, while the other was left in the shadows. The betrayal itself is painful, but what makes it sharper is the contrast. When you see your twin, your brother, your sister receiving joy, attention, gifts, and recognition, while you stand unnoticed, it magnifies the wound. It whispers that you are less, that you do not deserve what they deserve. It is not just the absence of a gift or a word of pride, it is the message that your existence weighs lighter on the family scale. Those who should stand beside you become the very people pushing you down, and that realization cuts far deeper than any insult from the outside world. In those moments, the mind spins with questions. Was I not enough? Did I fail them somehow? What made me unworthy in their eyes? These are not small questions, they are soul-crushing, because they come not from random voices, but from the people whose opinion once shaped your worth. The betrayal is not just in the act, but in the silence that follows, the absence of defense, the lack of explanation. It is the quiet acceptance from them that you simply do not matter as much as the one beside you. This kind of betrayal does not just bruise the heart, it reshapes identity. It forces you to confront the ugly truth that love can be conditional, that loyalty can bend, that blood does not always guarantee fairness. And in that moment of realization, something inside shifts. The wound festers, but it also awakens. The person who has been cast aside, the one left behind, begins to see the world through different eyes. Trust is no longer blind. Innocence fades. What remains is a sharpened edge, a determination born from pain, an inner strength that refuses to let this betrayal be the final story. And it is not only the betrayal of being forgotten, it is the betrayal of being made invisible. Imagine standing side by side with someone who shares your history, your blood, your milestones, and watching as every spotlight turns toward them, as every cheer is reserved for their success, as though you were never even in the picture. To be erased in your own family is a cruelty words cannot fully describe. It is a theft, not just of recognition but of dignity. That is what makes betrayal within the family so devastating. It is not just losing what was given to another, it is losing the sense that you were ever seen at all. And yet, even as that pain deepens, there is something undeniable about it. It plants a fire. The deeper the betrayal, the stronger the urge to rise. What was taken cannot always be reclaimed, but the strength to rewrite the story comes alive. A person who has felt that depth of pain carries a resilience that no outsider can match. For while the world may wound you, it is only family betrayal that teaches you the full cost of trust, and only those who survive it know how to turn that pain into power. Silent endurance is not weakness. Many mistake the quiet ones for fragile, for powerless, for people who have no fight left within them. They look at the silence and assume it means surrender, that it is a sign of defeat. But silence can be more powerful than noise, more unshakable than anger, and more dangerous than open rebellion. To endure without words, to absorb the cruelty, the humiliation, the dismissals, is not the mark of weakness. It is the mark of someone who knows that strength does not always need to announce itself. When a person remains silent, it is not because they have nothing to say. It is because they are calculating. They are weighing every word, every action, every betrayal, and storing it deep inside. Silence becomes a shield, one that protects them from further harm, one that keeps the enemy from seeing what lies beneath. It is easy to lash out, easy to scream when we are hurt, but it takes far greater strength to hold it in, to let the storm rage around you while you stand unmoved. That is not weakness. That is control, the kind of control that unsettles those who expect to see you break. Endurance in silence teaches lessons that loud resistance never can. It forces patience, the ability to wait when waiting feels unbearable. It teaches discipline, the art of mastering your own emotions when they threaten to consume you. And it sharpens memory because every insult, every betrayal is carved deeper when it cannot be spoken aloud. Silent endurance turns pain into fuel, into quiet fire that burns inside, unseen by others, but steady and unrelenting. Those who endure in silence are often underestimated. People think they can be walked over, dismissed, forgotten. They think silence means acceptance. They believe they can push further, wound deeper, and that the quiet one will never resist. But what they fail to understand is that silence is a mask, not a mirror. Behind it, there is strength building, a storm gathering, a resolve that grows stronger with each act of cruelty endured. Silent endurance is not about giving up, it is about conserving energy, about waiting for the moment when breaking the silence will have the greatest impact. It is in that quiet endurance that true resilience is forged. Every day that passes without complaint makes the person stronger, harder, less fragile. The world cannot see the internal battles being fought, but they are there, shaping a person into someone who no longer crumbles at pain. Silent endurance is like steel being tempered in fire. Each blow makes it tougher, sharper, more unyielding. When the moment of release finally comes, the strength revealed is far greater than if it had been scattered in screams and tears along the way. Society often praises loudness, the bold declaration of pain, the visible struggle. But silent endurance is a different kind of courage. It does not need validation, it does not demand attention. It simply exists, strong and unshaken, a reminder that the deepest strength often hides behind the quietest facade. Those who endure silently learn to observe, to understand the true nature of people, to see betrayal for what it is without letting it break them. They learn how to stand alone, how to survive without constant recognition, how to build power in solitude. The silence itself becomes a form of resistance. Every time you refuse to break, every time you hold back the tears they wanted to see, every time you choose not to give them the satisfaction of your anger, you are winning. You are denying them the control they thought they had. They may mistake it for submission, but in reality, it is defiance. It is saying, "You cannot reach me, not the way you think." That refusal to crumble is far more powerful than any outburst could ever be. And in that endurance lies transformation. The one who was once seen as weak becomes unshakable. The one who is ignored becomes unforgettable. Silent endurance creates depth, a kind of inner strength that others cannot touch, cannot steal, cannot break. It allows you to carry your scars without showing them, to hold your pain without letting it define you. It is not about hiding, it is about mastering. And mastery is the truest form of strength. Revenge is a dish served with timing. It is not born in haste, nor carried out in the heat of anger, but shaped slowly, with patience, with calculation, with the careful watching of opportunities as they unfold. Those who rush into revenge often fail, because their emotions blur their vision, because their actions expose too much too soon. But the one who waits, the one who endures quietly and allows time to ripen the moment, wields a far greater power. Timing is everything in revenge, for the sweetest strike is not only about what you do, but when you choose to do it. There is strength in restraint, in resisting the urge to retaliate immediately when wounded. The impulse to lash out is strong, and for most, it is irresistible. But true revenge requires discipline, the kind that can only come from one who has learned to let the insult linger, to let the betrayal harden into memory, to let the enemy believe they have won. When the offender thinks the story has ended, when they have grown comfortable in their victory, that is when the ground beneath them begins to shift. Timing transforms revenge from petty retaliation into devastating justice. The passage of time also allows clarity. In the first moments of betrayal, emotions run wild: rage, grief, humiliation, the sting of being overlooked or dismissed. If revenge is attempted then, it lacks precision, it lacks impact. But when time is allowed to pass, when emotions are tempered, the mind sharpens. The silence gives room for observation, for understanding weaknesses, for planning with care. It is like planting a seed and waiting for it to grow. The growth cannot be forced. The soil must be nurtured, the season must be right, and only then can the fruit be harvested. Revenge, too, has its season, and those who respect its timing reap the greatest satisfaction. Consider the cruelty of being betrayed by your own blood, your own family. The instinct is to demand fairness instantly, to cry out, to confront, to shout, "Why not me?" But the wiser path is patience. Let them believe their favoritism has broken you. Let them think their neglect has silenced you forever. Their guard will lower, their arrogance will blind them. They will not expect your rise, because in their eyes, you have already been defeated. That is the art of timing, using invisibility as a weapon, letting their certainty become their downfall. Revenge delivered at the wrong time is nothing more than noise, a fleeting moment of satisfaction that quickly fades. But revenge that comes when the offender least expects it carries the weight of permanence. It shocks them, unsettles them, and leaves them with no defense, because they never saw it coming. Timing ensures that the tables do not simply turn, they collapse entirely, leaving the betrayer speechless, powerless, and stripped of the comfort they once enjoyed. Waiting also gives the one seeking revenge something the betrayer never anticipates: growth. Time is not idle. While waiting, the silent one is building, learning, preparing. They are sharpening their skills, gathering their strength, becoming someone far more powerful than when the betrayal first occurred. And when the moment finally arrives, the person delivering the blow is not the same as the one who first received it. They have transformed, and the force of that transformation makes the revenge even more devastating. There is also a certain poetry in timing. To watch those who hurt you climb higher, only to know that their fall is coming, is a satisfaction that immediate retaliation could never provide. To let them laugh, to let them celebrate, to let them believe they have erased you, all the while knowing that their downfall is quietly approaching, creates a justice far more complete. Revenge is not just about evening the score, it is about reversing the story. And only timing can make that reversal powerful enough to last. The patience required for revenge is not easy. It means swallowing pain in silence, it means enduring moments when everything inside you screams to act. But restraint is where the power lies. To wait is to hold the blade in your hand and refuse to use it until the enemy steps directly into its path. To wait is to understand that every betrayal carries within it the seeds of its own destruction, and with the right timing, all you need to do is let those seeds grow until they choke the betrayer's comfort. Revenge, when shaped by timing, is no longer reckless retaliation. It becomes art, deliberate and precise, crafted with patience and carried out with devastating effect. It is the difference between a spark that burns out quickly and a fire that consumes everything in its path. Those who know how to wait, who know how to watch, who know how to strike not too soon and not too late, hold in their hands the truest form of power. The overlooked one always returns stronger. Being overlooked is a wound that cuts quietly, not with the sharp sting of open rejection, but with the dull ache of invisibility. It is the kind of pain that comes from being present, yet unseen. When others are celebrated, rewarded, lifted up with pride, and you are left standing in the shadows, there is a weight that settles on the heart. But being overlooked is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of transformation, because the one who is ignored learns to build strength in silence, learns to grow in ways that the favored never need to. To be overlooked is to be underestimated. And in that underestimation lies a hidden advantage. Those who dismiss you, who cast you aside, who treat you as though you are less, reveal something about themselves. They cannot see your true worth. They cannot imagine the depth of your resilience, the fire that burns beneath your quiet surface. They assume your silence means weakness, your absence from the spotlight means failure. But what they cannot see is that every moment of neglect is forging you into something harder, stronger, sharper than you ever were before. There is power in invisibility. While others bask in attention, wasting energy on applause and approval, the overlooked one is free to work in silence. Free to learn without distraction, to strengthen without interference, to prepare without anyone watching. The world's eyes are not upon you, and though that may feel like loneliness, it is also freedom. There are no expectations pressing down, no constant comparisons to meet. In that quiet, you build at your own pace, fueled not by praise but by determination. And when the moment comes to step out of the shadows, the strength revealed is undeniable, impossible to ignore. The overlooked carry scars, but scars are not weakness, they are reminders. Every time they were forgotten, every time they were dismissed, every time someone else was chosen over them, it carved something permanent inside. Those scars are not a source of shame but a record of survival. They tell the story of someone who kept moving forward even when no one cheered, who endured without applause, who found value not in what others handed them, but in what they built with their own hands. That kind of strength cannot be faked, cannot be borrowed, cannot be bought. It is earned in silence, and it is the kind of strength that outlasts everything else. When the overlooked finally return, they do not return as the same person who was once dismissed. They return transformed. They return with a depth of resilience that shocks those who ignored them, with a power that makes the spotlight shift naturally in their direction. The ones who were once celebrated now look small beside them, because the overlooked have carried the weight of solitude, of neglect, of betrayal, and turned it into muscle. They have sharpened themselves into something unbreakable, something undeniable. Their strength is not temporary, it is carved into their very being. And the irony is clear. Those who were given everything rarely know how to fight for themselves, but the overlooked have been fighting their entire lives. They have fought for recognition, for dignity, for survival. They have fought against invisibility, against silence, against favoritism. That fight has made them strong in ways the celebrated can never understand. The overlooked one has learned how to rise without help, how to walk without applause, how to stand when no one else believed they could. That is why, when they return, their presence is unshakable. There is a unique satisfaction in returning stronger. Not only does it prove the doubters wrong, it also proves something to yourself, that you were never defined by their neglect, that their blindness did not diminish your worth, that being overlooked was not your end, but your beginning. The return is not simply about showing others your strength, it is about standing fully in it, about realizing that every step in the shadows was leading you to a place of undeniable power. The overlooked one does not need revenge to prove their worth, though revenge often comes naturally when strength is revealed. The simple act of standing tall, of succeeding beyond what anyone expected, becomes its own form of justice. Those who once ignored you are forced to see you, forced to acknowledge what they tried so hard to deny. The return itself is the answer, the living proof that neglect did not destroy you, it only made you unbreakable. Power shifts when truth is revealed. For a long time, lies and deception can hold their ground. Favoritism can wear the mask of fairness. Betrayal can disguise itself as normality. Those in control thrive on silence, on the illusion that their version of the story is the only one that exists. They rely on the overlooked remaining quiet, on the betrayed staying hidden, on the wounded never speaking up. But the moment truth comes into the light, everything begins to change. Power does not stay with those who hide behind falsehoods. It gravitates to the one who dares to unveil what has been buried, and in that moment, the entire balance shifts. Truth is not always loud at first. Sometimes it arrives in fragments, in whispers, in small cracks that appear in the perfect mask others try to maintain. The betrayed sees it before anyone else does, because they have been watching, waiting, holding on to the memory of every slight, every injustice. They know the patterns others overlook. And when the time comes, the truth they carry becomes their weapon. Unlike lies, truth does not need rehearsal, it does not require effort to sustain. It stands on its own, and once it is spoken, it cannot be taken back. That permanence is what makes it so powerful. For those who have been silenced, the act of revealing truth is itself an act of rebellion. It is the breaking of chains, the tearing down of walls built to keep them invisible. And with that rebellion comes a transfer of strength. Those who once dictated the story now lose their grip because their control depended on deception. Without it, they are exposed, stripped of the image they worked so hard to maintain. The truth becomes the great equalizer, the force that levels the ground between the oppressed and the oppressor. It is in the moment of revelation that fear changes sides. The one who was betrayed, the one who carried the weight of silence, no longer has anything to lose. They have endured the worst of neglect, the sting of betrayal, the humiliation of being cast aside. But once the truth is spoken, they hold the upper hand. Meanwhile, those who thought themselves untouchable suddenly find themselves vulnerable. They are no longer the ones in control of the narrative. The eyes of others shift, the perception changes, and with it, their power begins to crumble. Revealing the truth is not just about exposing others, it is about reclaiming your voice. It is about taking back what was stolen when you were silenced, when your worth was denied, when lies were placed above your reality. Each word spoken becomes a strike, each fact revealed another crack in the wall that once confined you. And the more the truth spreads, the weaker the lies become. The shift is not immediate, but it is inevitable. Lies cannot withstand the weight of truth forever. They collapse under it, leaving only what is real standing strong. Those who return with the truth are often stronger than those who built their lives on deception. Because carrying truth requires endurance. It requires the ability to withstand being ignored, dismissed, silenced, while still holding firm to what you know is real. That endurance turns into strength, and when the time comes to finally speak, the impact is explosive. The truth that was hidden for so long bursts forth with a force that cannot be denied, and those who hear it cannot unhear it. That is how power shifts, not through noise or chaos, but through the steady and undeniable presence of truth. And what makes the revelation of truth so devastating for the betrayer is the timing. They never expect it. They grow comfortable in their lies, convinced that their story will stand forever. They laugh, they celebrate, they continue their favoritism or their cruelty without fear. Then, without warning, the truth they buried rises to the surface. It is like a shadow suddenly turning into a mirror, forcing them to face themselves, to see what they have done, to realize that the control they thought they had is slipping away. Timing makes truth not just a weapon but a turning point. Power is fragile when it rests on lies. It looks strong, but it is hollow. The first strike of truth can shatter it completely. That is why the overlooked, the silenced, the betrayed, hold more strength than they realize. Even when they seem powerless, they carry something the other side can never fully destroy: reality. And reality, once spoken, reshapes everything around it. It changes how people see, how they judge, how they act. One truth revealed can undo years of deception. One truth spoken aloud can bring down an entire facade. That is the essence of power shifting, not through brute force, but through the undeniable clarity that truth brings. The final laugh belongs to the underestimated. There is a certain silence that surrounds those who are dismissed, the ones looked at and judged too quickly, the ones labeled as weak, unimportant, incapable. They sit quietly while others sneer, while others point fingers, while others indulge in the illusion that they are superior. To be underestimated is to carry the weight of invisibility, but it is also to hold a secret advantage. For when people expect nothing of you, when they assume you will never rise, every step you take forward becomes a shock, every victory a disruption, every achievement a strike against the false image they created of you. Being underestimated is painful at first. It feels like being stripped of dignity, like being erased in plain sight. The laughter of others cuts deep because it comes with certainty, as though they have already decided your story and sealed your fate. Yet beneath that pain lies something far greater: freedom. To be underestimated is to be freed from expectation, freed from constant eyes watching your every move. And in that freedom, strength grows silently. While they laugh, you build. While they dismiss, you prepare. While they are blinded by their own arrogance, you are sharpening yourself in silence. Those who underestimate often mistake quietness for emptiness. They look at patience and think it is weakness. They see restraint and assume it is fear. But the underestimated know the truth. They know that silence is a shield, that patience is a weapon, that restraint is not surrender but preparation. Every moment of being overlooked becomes fuel. Every insult becomes a stone laid on the path of resilience. The underestimated carry these quietly, turning wounds into fire, turning shame into strength. And when the moment comes, when the underestimated finally step forward, the shift is undeniable. The laughter dies, the arrogance crumbles, the mocking eyes widen in disbelief. For nothing stings more than realizing that the person you thought beneath you now stands above you. Nothing unsettles the confident more than having their certainty shattered by the rise of the one they dismissed. The final laugh is not loud, it does not need to be. It is quiet, sharp, devastating, because it comes not from words, but from reality itself. The underestimated are not simply survivors, they are strategists. They learn to study others, to read every gesture, to notice every flaw that arrogance hides. While others flaunt their strength, the underestimated collect knowledge, quietly gathering the pieces that will one day turn into their advantage. They may look powerless, but their power lies in what others cannot see. And when the time arrives, they use it with precision, striking at the very moment when those who mocked them feel safest. That is why the final laugh belongs to them. It is not luck, it is design. There is also a certain beauty in the reversal. The same people who once pitied you, who treated you as though you were unworthy, are forced to watch as you rise. They cannot escape it. Their laughter becomes their silence. Their mockery becomes their regret. They are left choking on the weight of their own underestimation. And in that moment, the overlooked do not need to scream or gloat. Their very existence in strength is the revenge. Their success is the echo that silences every voice that once doubted them. To be underestimated is to be written off too soon, but it is also to be underestimated by fate itself. For life has a way of giving the underestimated chances that others miss. Their hunger drives them, their pain fuels them, their invisibility protects them. They rise not because they were handed power, but because they forged it from nothing. And that kind of power is unshakable, unbreakable, undeniable. The underestimated do not rise just to prove others wrong. They rise because they learned how to thrive without recognition, how to survive without applause, how to fight when no one believed in them. And when they laugh last, it is not the shallow laughter of arrogance. It is the laughter of release, of justice, of triumph over every shadow that once threatened to consume them. It is a sound that needs no audience, for its echo is carved into the silence of those who once mocked. The underestimated carry that laughter as proof that patience outlasts pride, that quiet strength outshines arrogance, that the ones who seemed invisible were always the ones to watch.